Me and my artwork?
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
My name is Larsen. I live in Oakland, California, with my wife and 2 kids. And I've been doing comic books for 25 years, which makes me very old, as it turns out. I didn't realize it, but it kind of all came crashing in.
And you are one of the creators of Image Comics.
Yes.
About that?
16 years ago, a group of us all left Marvel Comics at the same time because we wanted to see how far their stock could plummet. And we wanted to create things on our own and create our own characters and guide our own destiny. And so we split off and formed Image Comics, and it's been a wonderful experience for all.
So I noticed that Image Comics has become kind of like a talent hub for new talents, so people who are creators who want 2% of new artwork in an independent fashion.
It's kind of everything in that there's some old and some new. Certainly when we started Image, I'd already been in the business for 8 or 9 years, so I had some experience under my belt, and I'm still doing work here now. And a lot of the comics we do are from people who are seasoned vets, as it were. But we also like to give an opportunity to those new, young, up-and-coming guys who want to break into the industry and want to show people what they are capable of doing. And we've got an avenue for that as well.
Can you tell us a little bit about what do you think makes a person a good artist for this kind of work?
Good Lord, I have no idea. I mean, I know with myself that I read a bazillion comics when I was a little kid and fell in love with the art form and liked the idea of telling stories through comic books. I drew comics for myself when I was a little kid, so I had, tons and tons of Savage Dragon stories that I drew before I ever published anything. And a lot of us were like that, where we just were really into this stuff when we were younger. Todd McFarlane had created Spawn before he came to Marvel Comics at all. He's got some old drawings of the character that he had kicking around the house, and when it came time to do Image Comics, he dusted those off and did some updates on the costume, and away he went.
So if I was an illustrator that wanted to try out to make an Image Comics, what are you looking for?
Well, it depends on how you're trying to get in and what you're trying to do. All of our books are creator owned. Nothing is owned by the company itself. So because of that, either people are pitching books to us where they've got the writer, the penciler, the inker, and they've got a comic book that's being pitched rather than saying, I want to draw something, or they'll go to any of the individual creators or imprints within our company and approach people there about doing stuff. So an artist may approach Robert Kirkman about, gee, I love Walking Dead, I like Invincible, I used, Wolfman, and I really want to do something. Could we do something together? And then Robert could take him under his wing and show him the ropes and make an awesome comic out of the deal. Or you could go to Top Cow or to TMP or any of the others and be able to do comic books with those individual creators and put things together that way. But a lot of the time what we're doing is we want people to be pitching comics and coming here and doing their own thing, which is really what Image is all about, is being able to do your own comic books from the ground up.
So what would you say is do you feel that's going to be the future of comic books? Are we going to continue being a printed media? Are we going to go towards digital distribution?
Well, I think that over time, more and more, it's going to be going online, and more and more, it's going to become less print and more of an online experience, because that's what the new generation of readers is growing up with and really wants, and that's how they're used to getting their entertainment, and that's how they're used to reading things. I know that when a lot of the books that come to Image and are coming through it will have a sort of a proofreading part that where they'll send in JPEGs of the issue before the actual comic comes out, and there's several comics that I read in that way. I read The Walking Dead in JPEG form usually, and I read Invincible in JPEG form. When the Luna Brothers send in their stuff, and I go through that when it comes in that form, and when it actually comes in print, it's like, that's great, but I've already read it. And I think that the new generation of readers, they're not as concerned with having this stuff be in print and having it on their bookshelves and being able to read it that way, and maybe they don't want this stuff cluttering up their apartments or whatever. But there are also those of us who like having the physical comic. There are limitations in terms of just how clear and clean and crisp things can look in a JPEG form. And so when you've got the physical comic book in your hand and can really look at it and admire the work, you get, I think, a greater appreciation out of having it like in that form. But things are changing,
So finally, what advice would you give to a kid who might be in high school or college and say, you know what, I want to do comics?
Well, I mean, the advice is, if you want to do comic books, you need to do comic books, and really that is the best advice I can give to anybody is do what you want to do. You don't have to get paid for it. You just have to actually do it. And there's a variety of different ways to do it. I drew comic books for my own self, and I stapled them up the side and called them beautiful. And a lot of other people I know started doing things that way. And you can break in and do things in fanzines. You can print these things for yourself. There's a variety of different ways of doing it. But if you really want to do comic books, you just start doing it. And you just send people your samples, and you network, and you try to improve and get as much feedback as you can. And eventually, if you're able to learn and take people's advice and get better, then you can make it in this business.